Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today at Bryan Kohberger's arraignment, he made the decision to stand silent. Now, a lot of us, myself included, was not sure what that meant or why he would make the decision to do that. So I did a little digging to figure out exactly what it meant and why he made this decision. Let's go ahead, let's roll the intro and we'll get right into it. Like I said, today, Bryan Kohberger was due in court for his arraignment, where he would enter into a plea of guilty or not guilty. Now, before court started, family members of the victims were seen going into the courthouse. Those family members, as well as everyone around the world who has drawn an interest in this case, they waited to see what Bryan Kohberger was going to do. Was he going to plead guilty or not guilty? Well, he didn't do either. Instead, he made the decision to stand silent. Well, what exactly does that mean? Does that mean that he doesn't want to say not guilty because he is guilty? What exactly does it mean? Well, remaining silent does not mean that a suspect is admitting guilt to the crimes that he is being accused of. It simply means that the judge will enter a not guilty plea to the charge or the charges that the suspect is facing. So basically, Bryan Kohberger made the decision to say nothing, therefore leading the judge to enter the plea on his behalf. So as we all know, Bryan Kohberger, who is 28 years old, is accused of murdering 4 college students at their off-campus home on November 13, 2022. The name of those college students is Ethan, Kaylee, Xana, and Madison. Bryan was arrested at his family's home in Philadelphia on December 30th, 2022. He was then extradited back to Latah County shortly after he was arrested. On January 5, 2023, Bryan Kohberger had his first appearance in Latah County Court. 1 week later, he was in court again, where he waived his rights to a speedy preliminary hearing. That hearing was then scheduled to begin on June 26, 2023, and was to last an entire week. However, news broke on Tuesday that Bryan Kohberger had been indicted of all the charges against him by a grand jury, which would eliminate the need for a preliminary hearing. So today, Monday, he appeared in court with his public defender, Ann Taylor. During the arraignment, Judge John Judge explained the charges against Bryan Kohberger and asked him to enter into a plea. At that point, Bryan Kohberger's attorney, Ann Taylor, stood up and said that Bryan Kohberger would stand silent. So what exactly does it mean to stand silent, or another term for it is stand mute? So at an arraignment, a suspect is asked to enter into a plea of either guilty or not guilty, which are the only pleas recognized by the state of Idaho. However, the suspect can choose to stand silent or stand mute, which is what Bryan Kohberger chose to do. Remaining silent means that the suspect does not take a stance on being guilty or not guilty. They simply refrain from speaking. If a suspect refuses to enter a plea or chooses to stand silent, the court must enter a not guilty plea on the suspect's behalf. The right for a suspect to remain silent is protected by the Fifth Amendment right of the United States Constitution, which protects us from self-incrimination. Now, why would Bryan Kohberger choose to stand silent? I'm not really sure exactly why he would choose to stand silent, but here are a few reasons why anyone might choose to do so. The Fifth Amendment in the U.S. Constitution protects a defendant regardless of whether they are guilty or innocent. In fact, if a defendant refuses to testify or stand silent, that cannot be used against them. A jury cannot look at that as they're admitting guilt. If someone decides they don't want to testify, the jury cannot at all think, well, they must be guilty because they don't want to get up on the stand. So it is important to say that just because Bryan Kohberger decided to stand silent, it does not mean that he is admitting guilt to the crimes that he is being accused of. It simply means that the court is now responsible for entering the not guilty plea on Bryan Kohberger's behalf. And now that a guilty plea has been entered for all 5 charges against Bryan Kohberger, he will now have to stand trial for those murders. On October 2nd, 2023 at 8:30 in the morning, his trial is set to begin. And now that they have a trial date, the prosecution has exactly 60 days to announce whether or not they will seek the death penalty. Once that happens, I will be sure to update you guys and let you guys know. Also, I will be following this trial as it happens. So if you're interested in keeping up with this case, please consider subscribing to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave me all your thoughts in the comment section below. And I will see you guys in the next one.